How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your pal Cal, and today we're going to be going over something that we've gone over before but just got another major update. Today we're going to be going over Ragnar. If you're unfamiliar with Ragnar, it's basically a little tiny cyber pet, kind of like a Ponagotchi, except it doesn't do the work indiscriminately. It basically helps to try to hack your own network and then tell you where the vulnerabilities are so that you can later patch them. Ragnar is special because it's basically a fork of Bjorn, and if you're unfamiliar with Bjorn, we've done videos on each and every one of these things before. We've got a whole playlist for them if you want to check them out, as well as a build guide. But Bjorn is exactly like Ragnar. The only difference is Ragnar has an upgraded web UI and you can switch networks on the fly. Now, before we continue, this video is for educational purposes only. Remember to only test your own hardware. Do not test networks or devices that you do not have explicit permission to test on. Follow all local laws and don't be a skid. Ragnar can be incredibly useful for a multitude of reasons, and there's different types of Ragnars that can help you do different types of things. They're all part of the whole Ragnar ecosystem, but what I mean by different is you have your typical Ragnar, which is built on a Raspberry Pi 02W, more specifically, just the 0 form factor, as well as the Raspberry Pi 4 and the Raspberry Pi 5. But with the Pi 4 and the Pi 5, you want to make sure that you have over 8 gigabytes of RAM or maybe 16 gigabytes of RAM on a Pi 5. It gives you server capabilities, and typically this is done headless. You also have different types of displays. For example, you have the ePaper display by Waveshare, the 2.1 inch, and there's also the ePaper Hat Plus, which gives you a lot better kind of an experience. There isn't really that much bleeding, but you also have the giant ePaper display. I want to say this is the 2.7 inch ePaper display, and you can make it as fat as possible, and you can put it with a Pi 4, Pi 5, like I mentioned before. But now we have something new. There's been a major development when it comes to war driving in particular, and now you can war drive on your Ragnar. Recently, the war driving community has been booming. There's been so many people who have been just kind of getting into the hobby of going out, grabbing your device, and engaging with other members of the community on a friendly competition on WDG Wars, Wigle.net. Also, by the way, NerdSec, our war driving team is now the largest war driving team on Wigle, and the Blackwire Militia in particular on WDG Wars. We're constantly moving between first, second, third, back to first, back to second, back to third, back to first, and so on and so on and so on. It doesn't matter. It's so fun to see other members of the community come together for a common game. And it gives engagement, man. There's something beautiful about war driving that I don't know how to explain. It's like getting everybody together in that childish glee of, I wouldn't call it like chess, but it's definitely fun. And I'm loving every single bit of it. You've got different devices that are now being made to kind of get people more engaged. So getting Ragnar, a device that is made to be taken on the fly, to test different networks on the fly. Ethically, of course. I mean, it's a network auditing tool at the end of the day that does all the heavy lifting for you. Being able to keep it on, for example, with a UPS battery pack, and there's a couple of different UPS things coming really soon as well. But basically, you could take this, turn it on, plug in an alpha adapter, plug in a tri-band adapter, plug in anything you'd like, and sniff out the networks and log them straight on Ragnar using the web UI to upload directly to Wigle and WDG Wars. And it is actually really, really cool. But it gets so much better than that, because with HuginnESP, you can flash an ESP32C5 or you can flash for now. These are the two compatible devices from the time of this video. An ESP32C5, I believe, with over 8 megabytes of flash memory. I could be wrong, but I want to say it has to have 8 megabytes of flash memory. So a dev kit, for example. And essentially, there's ways where you can pair them together to work similar to a cluster, as well as other ways to pair it with existing war drivers. And from the time of this video, it's compatible with the Midwest Gadgets Piglet. Now, to follow along with this video, you're going to need yourself an ESP32C5. I have in my hand an official ESP32C5 dev kit from Espressif, and you're also going to need yourself a Ragnar. Now, Ragnar, if you don't know how to build it, you've never built a Ragnar, don't know how to build a Ragnar, down below in the description I have an entire build guide where it walks you through the entire thing. You can't go wrong. And I promise you, It's not that complicated, but you're gonna need yourself a Pi Zero, an e-paper display, or you can run it headless. There's an entire web UI. Grab yourself a Pi. We're gonna cover server soon, don't worry. There's a whole lot of Ragnar stuff coming because Mr. Pierre is doing everything in his power to make Ragnar such an amazing everyday carry pocket pet. To get yourself started, you wanna go to github.com/PierreGode. That's also linked down below in the description. Pierre is an awesome developer, and he's done such great work. And we're going to scroll down. You see right here it says Ragnar, and we got HuginnESP. Oh my god, I called it MuginnESP. Well, just for context, there's Huginn and Mugen, which are the crows that are Odin's crows. And once we're at HuginnESP, the first thing we want to do is make sure we give this project a star. It seems like I am the first star, and I don't care. I love it. If anything, I'm honored. We're going to scroll down. It says HuginnESP. Wi-Fi and BLE War Driving firmware for the ESP32. This device performs radio scanning and pushes live streaming protections over USB serial. Any host can consume the stream. The reference consumer is Ragnar War Driving engine, but the protocol is plain, new line, delimited, JSON, so anything that can read in a serial port will work. Here are the supported devices. We have the Waveshare ESP32 S3 Touch LCD display, where you have an actual web UI, and it has an ESP32 S3, and it's only limited to 2.4 gigahertz and BLE 5. It's also a 4-inch display, so it's a nice. You can search this and grab it. You can flash this one if you want. And right here we have the Waveshare ESP32 C5 dev kit, which comes with 16 megabytes of flash memory and 4 megabytes of PS RAM. But you get dual band, and you can run it headless. He also, it seems, just added the generic ESP32 dev kit, just the generic ESP32 dev kit, 4 megabytes of flash memory. So I might be wrong about that. Like I said, I wasn't exactly sure. So right here it says Huginn has display, and I keep getting confused if it's called Huginn or Mugen. But down here it says Wi-Fi scan, BLE scan, Flipper 0 detection, AirTag detection, BLE spam detection. I think this right here is amazing. BLE spam is annoying. We also get GPS tagging because, you have an optional GPS module that has to be wired, and if it's totally up to you. It's optional though. Now right here you got the auto scan cycle, session tally, and the touch display if you absolutely want to. And to top it all off, you also have card skimmer detection, where you can identify if a place that you're at has a credit card skimmer. Now, here's the optional GPS wiring, just in case you wanted to wire, let's say, an ATGM336H to your device in particular. You put 3.3 ground, GPO 17 and 18, which is the GPS, RX, and TX pins on the ESP32. So each one is different. It depends on how you want to wire them. You can either solder it, you can do whatever you want, but there is a web flasher, which makes everything so easy. We don't got to use PIO or Arduino, nothing. We go down here, and it says to flash the stock build. This is the web browser right here, pierregode.github.io HuginnESP. I will link this down below in the description, or you can use the ESP web tools and download the bin files that they have in the releases. I want to say, yep, nope. They do not have it in the releases, but you can download the folder and flash it in the ESP Web Tools app. So we're going to click pierregode down here, the GitHub web flasher. Boom! There we go. Odin with Huginn and Mugen. I don't know which one is who, but I'm not really worried about that. Which one is thought and memory? Huginn is thought, Munin is... Oh, it's Munin, not Mugen. God, man, I need to get my Norse mythology up. So we're going to go to bind ESP32 C5, and what we're going to do now is hold down the boot button and then plug in our device. So we're going to hold it down, plug in our device. We're going to get that ding, that chime. Make sure you have the ESP32 drivers installed if you are using Windows or Mac. I use Linux like an adult, but this is my workstation, so I have to use Windows for work. So USB JTAG serial debug unit COM33. We're going to press connect and just keep holding. And then from here, we're going to press install ESP32 C5 erase device. Of course, press next and then install. But it said failed to initialize. That is disheartening. So it's finally flashing and it's finally working. It turns out my C5 was bad, so I had to grab another C5 and grab a cable that carries data. So I'm using a Thunderbolt 5 cable just to be absolutely sure, and we're finally done flashing. So now our ESP32 C5 is flashed and we're good to go. But if you're using a dev kit, you have this tiny little jumper right there. That jumper has to actually have a jumper, and this is for the C5 dev kits. because if you don't, it just won't work, and that kind of makes sure that all the power goes where it's supposed to and there aren't no problems. There are some projects where you have to remove that, but in this case you just want to keep it on. Unless you're using a Xiao, then you don't got to do anything, you're good to go. But you're going to need yourself a cable. This is not a wireless type of cluster. You're basically using the C5 as a Wi-Fi dongle. And to make it just a little bit more complicated, you're also going to need a USB hub for your Ragnar. Now I got this 04U board. It basically gives me 4 full-sized USB ports and a 2mm JST connector for a battery. Now why would I want this? Because it's micro USB. Who in the ever-living hell wants to use micro USB? Well, in this case, I just need USB ports. So it's perfect, because not only do we have to plug in the ESP32 C5, and you can pair C5s and then pair wirelessly with a Piglet, but you're also going to need a GPS dongle, and in the cases that I've been doing and I've had great success with, no matter what the project is, as long as it's a USB GPS dongle related, is this VK172 or the Stemadu GPS dongle that is basically an upgraded version of the U-Block 7 dongle. I hate this dongle. It's a hit or miss. Some of them cost $3, some of them cost $25, some of them cost $15. You never know what you're gonna get, and it pisses me off because some of them are missing the actual parts that you need to connect to over 22 satellites. And this one just does everything that you could possibly need it to do. So it's just a good go-to, unless you're using a GPS hat. So you could technically mix and match. The main thing here is your Ragnar needs GPS data. So you can wire an ATGM336H to your Raspberry Pi, or you can use a dongle, or you can use a hat. Just make sure you have a GPS that is actually pretty decent, or else it's gonna be a bad time. I'm gonna remove this Waveshare UPS hat that I actually repaired and was sent in by MidwestGadgets.org, and I'm gonna replace it with this 04U and just stick a giant battery to. This has really delicate pogo pins, so if you do grab one of these, be incredibly careful. And just like that, we're in business. All we gotta do is put a battery pack in that JST connector and we're good to go. No matter what type of battery bank, if it's external and it doesn't come with the actual board, be absolutely sure that the polarity is correct on the JST connector, which I've actually modified on my own just to make sure nothing spicy happens. I also want to mention that if you do use the 04U board in particular that you can find at Micro Center, and they're like $12, it doesn't have an actual on and off switch, so you'll have to manually add that, you know, like a physical click switch, any click switch. Just make sure it's simple and you put it in between ground. That way we're good to go. Because in this case, everything is fine, but there is no on and off switch. I'll probably add it later. And if you're using the VK172, the GPS antenna is facing down. Now, I know that could be annoying, but it does work, and there's a UFL connector just in case you want to attach an external GPS antenna. So my Ragnar is on, and on the top left corner it says AP. That means it's giving off an access point. But just to make everything a little bit better, we're now going to be plugging in our Huginn or Huginn, oh my god, I forgot the name again, to the actual board. That way we have a sniffer, and if we want to really spice things up, we can add another dual band dongle, so we can fill up our Ragnar all the way for maximum capabilities. And you can see the ESP is on, but we're gonna have to navigate to the actual web UI. I want you to keep in mind that not every one of these builds has to be built the same, and mine is kind of sort of a monstrosity, but I really like it. Being able to combine the benefits of war driving with an ESP32 and merge it with your Piglet while also building something that's Linux based and using an ESP32 at the same time with a GPS, with a display and a web UI, you kind of just check off all the boxes here. I've added an alpha tri-band dongle. It's the alpha names everything so insane codes. I wish they made it so much more simple. I'll link it down below in the description. I got the same GPS module. I put the ESP32 C5 dev kit on the back, as well as another dual band adapter here on the side. Now you might be asking, why would I add so many Wi-Fi antennas? Well, that's because the more you add, the more you can designate them to sniff out different channels, the same way you're doing with the ESP32 C5. Or you could just add more ESP32C5s. This is such a fun project, and I love building monstrosities like this because they have that edge, that old hacker-esque look, that classic, like, I made this. And I'm just a huge fan of this. You don't have to build one like me, but I like this one, and I would encourage you to make yours look as outlandish as possible. So we're gonna head over to Wi-Fi, and it's giving off the access point called Ragnar, and the password is Ragnar Connect. That's just one word, all lowercase, Ragnar Connect. From here, we're gonna navigate to 192.168.4.1 and then 8000. So you can see it says Ragnar Wi-Fi setup, which is 192.168.4.1 and then 8000. Oop, I put 800, so let's put 8000. There we go, we're in the actual web UI. From here, we can configure our Wi-Fi, we can do everything that we need to do to help set it to a proper network. This is your best friend when you're on the fly. Now look, here's the thing, you have to make sure that you update your Ragnar to the latest firmware. So if you have an old Ragnar, for example, and you haven't updated it, you won't have those war driving capabilities. And there's another thing. Once you plug in your ESP32C5 or your S3 or your Waveshare display, whatever you plug into, it will automatically start war driving, and it'll automatically connect and go into war driving mode to access those features like BLE spam and some of the BLE spam detector, and all of those card skimming detector features, all of the actual counter surveillance tools that you could possibly need. You will access them through the web UI. But once that ESP32C5 is detected, you're good to go. And if you want to switch out of war driving mode, all you got to do is unplug your C5, which mine is kind of stuck, and then go into the web UI, select the network that you would like Ragnar to start testing, and from there, you're good to go. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to support the developer who's made such amazing DIY projects that help you secure your network and teach you so many things. There's also a whole lot of awesome projects down below in the description, GitHub pages. Check them out and learn something, because there's a lot to learn from these amazing devs that do the most to try to give something back to the world. I'd also like to take a second to thank you for watching this video all the way through. I truly appreciate the love and support, and if you enjoyed this video, consider liking it and maybe subscribing to the channel, because we go over different stuff all the time, my guy, by some of the best people and the best developers, and everybody trying to help people every single day. We'll see you next time.